Thanks for the introduction. My name is Ricky. I work for Blue Note. You're going to see Everstream branding up here. So maybe I can even start there. Blue Note is a startup out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'll kind of I'll take you through our story here in a minute, but just a year ago we were bought by the company Everstream. Everstream is another startup that was born out of a supply chain logistics innovation hub in, I think that it was run by DHL in Germany. So that's kind of the whole stack, because Everstream bought us a year ago. But we're still running like Blue Note, so I'm still saying Blue Note, so that's kind of the way it all kind of fits together. What I want to do is Blue Note is running a project for transportation optimization in the north that's funded by Transport Canada. So the main reason I'm here is to meet you and to understand more about this region and what the needs are. I'm so glad I came. I've learned so much. I destroyed most of my deck after just talking to Barry for like an hour, like last night. But even now we write differently. So most of it's going to lay the groundwork, like from a point of view of data and what we do, and then hopefully invite some of you to maybe participate in the project with us. So that's what my objective is here today. So I think this is the wrong card. Okay, so the original story of Blue Note was all around shipping manifests for marine ports. And the basic problem is, So we were working with shipping manifests, and if you've ever looked at an EI file or a railway bill, you know that the data is kind of a mess. It's hard to tell what's being shipped, by who, and who the customer is. So the origin of Blue Note was exactly that. The marine ports historically have used that data for operations and for building, but never for trade strategy. So that's what Blue Note set out to do: clean up that data and organize it for trade strategies, not for a finance team or for an operation. So of course, as soon as we get the commodities identified, we identify the shipper and the customer, it starts to produce this opportunity for the trade strategists to see what the trends are in their strategies around their customers, but then they need what are the levers that I can use to convince customers to ship through my port, right? And this slide used to say some different things, but basically the three levers are carbon, time, and cost, right? So we've given them visibility first, who's shipping what and who the customer is, and now we're trying to help them build better deals. So what that turns into for carbon is you have to start to look at the original origin of the cargo and the final destination of the cargo, which is pretty tricky. If all you have is the marine route. So we started building up the data from the ship through the terminal and then to the railway bill. So we got all those connected. And you start to get a pretty good picture, at least when it goes from marine to rail, like kind of how the cargo moved. But road is still a bit of a gap for us. I was talking to Jordan about earlier. It's a little harder. Most ports, when a container leaves the port doesn't know what where. So that's part of our to give an accurate picture of carbon. You kind of have to have the end-to-end thing. So that's what we've been doing. We've been building out the full route end-to-end, and then the port, or at this point the terminal or the rail, any operator can start to make a case for being the greenest pathway. So that's the first lever. The second lever is around time. So just for the most part, just knowing the routes and actually modeling the mode to understand how weather might impact it. Things like, I know thrown like how long a driver can drive in a day is like a part of the model. So modeling those sorts of things so that the amount of time it takes for the car to get where it's going can be modeled. And finally, the last one is cost. In terms of cost, it usually involves things like spot rates for moving a container from Rotterdam to Halifax, or it costs to move it by rail or by road. And you kind of put that together, and suddenly you have three levers that somebody can do to kind of build a business. And what's really interesting about carbon is oftentimes we see customers willing to make deals that are more expensive and take more time if the carbon is that much better. So that's why we really focus on carbon. So that's what the Blue Node product does. We help ports and other operators build better deals, and attract different volume. So this project. For the north, I'm sure you can see there are some overlaps in the data, and maybe trade strategy isn't really the first need, though. I think there is a more fundamental need around understanding how new commodities impact or can be accommodated by the current infrastructure. I think there's an infrastructure question. So we wrote this proposal to kind of work on that problem with you. And the idea is, if suddenly we're shipping 2 million tons of potash out of Port Churchill, like what happens on the rail side? And does Road have to pick up some of that? Or if larger planes start frequenting the Thompson Airport more often, how does that affect road? I mean, road is a big one because road sticks a lot of things together. I don't know if you said that, but there's always these little road pieces that can all work. So you kind of model all that, and what we want to do with this project is give you a way to simulate introducing new commodity volume into your supply chain and see where it breaks, where it fails, so that you can strategize around commodities and infrastructure to make those things happen. And so I'm using some PowerPoint. I think this is going to get us off track. So what I'm hearing from you today is there is a lot of vision and a lot of excitement around developing, growing in northern Manitoba, but my world is data, and I really feel like using data as your strategic resource, to like make decisions and feel more certain about the future that you're trying to build, is a critical piece, and that's what I think the best outcome of this project to me is to provide a data resource that shows how all different modes interact, and that can be used in the future to continue to grow the region. There are other examples. We do have like a climate change and acute weather meteorology team. So if what the work could be is even modeling changes in ice roads or forecasting ice road maintenance needs, or maybe if there were multiple days of ice, like building models to predict when certain weather patterns, cause washouts, I guess, like on ice roads, like we could build those too because that impacts the road mode. So I think all of that is kind of game. It's pretty wide open. But the fundamental thing is, build out the supply chain network, and then we can provide visibility of what's moving through that network, or even simulate what could move through that network. Right now, we are doing, we started the project, we met with Arctic Gateway, so we looked a little bit at the port and rail. We've also met with Curtis and Laura at the airport, and also Gary Bell at Calm Air. But I think the road piece is big, and it's like it kind of sticks everything together. So that's, I hope to meet some people that are working in that space. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's really about pitch. It's not really about the product in particular, but it's about things we know and things we can do to help do as a part of this project. So, that's all I have today.
Any questions for Ricky?
Sure.
I was good at this PowerPoint, so we're going to let
The data you're gathering, can it be utilized for claiming ESG credits, or also, let's say, from all the data you have, the transporter switch to electric trucks, for example? Now, would you be able to quantify that stuff for the carbon credit availability?
So one thing, like in terms of the mode, like if we're talking about trucks or even like shipping or trains, if there's some kind of, if there's a different kind of engine, then we definitely would, like an electric engine versus diesel, we definitely would model that into the data. One thing that we've often said is we want to be like TurboTax for like government reporting of carbon. So that piece, we're going after that, but I don't know if that gets you, I mean, it does some of the ESG stuff, but like green marine, like that sort of reporting, yeah, we're working toward that. It's not part of our core feature set right now.
But you could get a baseline for what we're doing now, as compared to the changes.
Yeah, totally, yes.